Hello everyone. So today is going to be a shorter video. What you're looking at right now is the Motorola Surfboard that has been sitting in my network stack, if you can call it that, since 2006. This is the first and only cable modem to ever be in the house after switching to cable that year, or cable internet. Before that, we were on 28.8K dial-up from AOL, and we made the switch, and I think back then the service was somewhere on the order of 3 megabits. Nowadays it's 50 down and 5 up, but with this modem it's bottlenecked at 30 down just because this is a DOCSIS 2 modem. So this modem actually became obsolete about, I think it was 3 months after we got cable. DOCSIS 3 came out that same year, so yeah, this was at the end of its life even then. And you can tell it's one of the older surfboards because it has the button on top. And the button on top is sort of something that you really wouldn't think to use today. Back then it was highly touted because people weren't used to having always-on connections, and with that came the risk of hacking. Dial-up has a security benefit of, not always being on, and so trying to hack someone over dial-up is a lot more tedious for that and other reasons. And so the button was added on top of the surfboard, I think from the very beginning, just so people could have that peace of mind of turning off their connection. Um, and this thing has been incredibly stable the entire time. I don't recall ever having to forcibly reset it. The only time you have to reset it is when you change whatever it's plugged into to, I guess, reset the MAC address or something like that. But, this thing is like a brick. And, people talk about how cheaply it's built for the bottom dollar. Not really anything to write home about, but it's incredibly, incredibly stable. Never had a problem with it. For how long has it been now? It's been almost 12 years, almost on the order of 12 years. But it's finally going into retirement, sadly. I guess, according to Cox, the people who maintain the firmware on it and release updates for it are no longer going to be doing so, which I'm surprised they didn't drop support for it long ago, but the day's finally come. And also, it's hopelessly out of date. So they're pushing a new modem. They no longer distribute surfboards, although newer iterations of the surfboard have been made since then. They don't look like this anymore, obviously. Now they're using the Aris modem, I think that's how you pronounce it. And as of the making of this video, this surfboard's been taken offline and the Aris modem is up and running. And we do get the full advertised speed now, 50 down and 5 up. So I'm happy about that. And, it was never really a challenge working with 30 down in this household of 4 people. So, but it's nice to have that extra bandwidth available when needed. And so far, the Aris modem, it's been up for a week or so, has proved to be stable as well. We'll see how that pans out in the long run. A couple interesting things about this modem as well. This is one of the surfboards that had the capability of being tethered to a computer via USB, which anyone who actually used that would know that that was a horrible system, but it was there. So you can see on the back here we have below the Ethernet port the USB port, and then there's the cable input down there. And here in my basement, you can see the surfboard modem has been sitting, or the box has been sitting there for years. This is what the box looked like. Has a pretty elegant design for what it's worth. Had a very minimalistic font even for back then. You can see the sides for those of you who are interested. It's almost like an unboxing, except it's been unboxed for ages now. Here's the innards of the package, and let's open it up. So the first thing that you can see is the documentation for, installing it, sort of the dummy-proof instructions. Although when this was installed, the cable man did everything because he had to drill the line in the floor to run the cable line and all that. So we didn't have to fool around with that. Not that it would have been difficult or anything. It's fairly straightforward. You can see the original USB cable. That's the original USB-B connector, which Still used in printers, but not really used for much else besides. Again, that's if you wanted to tether it to your computer directly via USB. Horrible option, but not everybody had an Ethernet port on their computer, even in 2006. And that was the bag that it came in originally. It's still there. Kind of funny. And then at the very bottom here, we have the CD that contains the drivers and the installation media for the modem itself. You can read what's on there. And this still sealed. Notice the seal has not been broken. We never bothered with that for good reason. Doing things via RJ45 is a lot more convenient. And here's the warranty information and stuff that no one ever reads. Fairly straightforward. Motorola nowadays is bought out by Google, or owned by Google. I forget what year they were bought out, but they were not back when this modem was made, so it's interesting to look back on that. Well, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sure that most of you probably owned this modem at one point. It was very common, definitely a staple in internet history. So without any more to say, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you again in the next video.